I was sitting in the living room. In front of me, a photo of my father, a fresh frame, candles, a few friends, silence, just presence. No one was saying anything unnecessary, because this wasn't a day for words. And right at that moment, it started. Loud music, bass, laughter. I stepped onto the porch and saw everything. Right across from my house, a party, a snack table, guests, someone dancing right on the sidewalk, and Karen in the center, smiling, holding a mic like a corporate event host. In that moment, I didn't feel grief or peace. Just one question in my head. Is she serious? But to understand how it all got to this, we need to go back a bit. It all started with something small. I had just parked my car in front of my house. A regular spot, perfectly between the lines, not blocking anyone. A few minutes later, Karen showed up.
Your car is parked incorrectly,
She said, arms crossed. I'm within the allowed space. Everything's fine.
It breaks the overall parking symmetry on the street. That's not acceptable.
I looked across the road. Her car was parked the same way. And yours? I asked calmly.
Mine's an exception. I've been parking here for 10 years.
So the rules apply to everyone except you?
I'm the HOA president. I have the authority to enforce compliance.
I didn't say anything, just turned around and walked into the house. It didn't seem serious. A few days later, a tragic event happened. My father was sitting in the living room, on the couch. The television was on. Everything seemed normal. And then he just lost consciousness. I ran to him, tried everything, no reaction. I immediately called an ambulance. Within minutes, I could hear the siren, but the vehicle was stopped at the entrance to our neighborhood. It wouldn't come any further. I rushed outside and saw what was happening. Karen had blocked them. She stood directly in front of the barrier.
They don't have an entry permit.
She shouted. This is an emergency, the paramedic called back. We need to get through immediately.
This is a private community. No request, no entry.
Ma'am, move out of the way, the driver demanded.
You're violating regulations.
She yelled over them. Then the police arrived. An officer stepped out of the car and approached her calmly, but firmly. Ma'am, this is an emergency response. Let the ambulance through. Your actions are unlawful. She froze for a second, said nothing, then finally stepped aside. The ambulance got through. They took my father away in critical condition. A month in the hospital, and he passed away. After the funeral, we came back home. I didn't invite many people, just a few close ones. We sat quietly in the living room. Someone held a cup of tea. Someone stayed silent. On the table, a framed photo of my dad. The air was still, calm, that kind of quiet where no words are needed. I was just listening to someone share a childhood memory, and I thought, just a few hours, just silence. Then came the first bass. Loud, sharp, like a slap against the window. Then music, laughter, shouting. I stood up, stepped out onto the porch and saw it. Right across the street, the party was already in full swing. Neighbors with drinks, kids running, people yelling, balloons, snack tables, music blasting from large speakers. And in the center of it all, Karen, in a bright shirt, laughing, waving. I stood there for a moment, and then I realized, this isn't going to happen. I crossed the street, didn't run, didn't yell, just walked straight toward her. Karen noticed me and even smiled.
Hey,
She said, as if nothing had happened. What's the occasion? I asked.
oh, just a little gathering. People need to unwind.
After a funeral?
Well, we didn't want to ruin your day. It's not in your yard.
You knew I was holding a memorial today.
Yes, but life goes on, doesn't it?
I buried my father just a few hours ago, and you threw a picnic under my window. Karen shrugged.
Honestly, we planned it a while ago. People deserve a little fun.
You didn't just ruin the day. You're the reason he's not here. If the ambulance had arrived on time, he might still be alive. But you blocked it. You decided no permit, no entry. Karen went silent. For the first time, she had nothing to say. And now you're blasting music across the neighborhood. On the day I bury my dad?
If you have a problem,
She started. I already took care of it, but not through the HOA. And I walked away. For real. For good. The police arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers, calm but without smiles. They pulled up in front of Karen's house, stepped out, and walked straight toward her. I stood off to the side, just watching. Karen came out to meet them, waving her arms.
what's going on? It's just a party. I didn't break any rules.
One of the officers cut her off immediately. Ma'am, we've received multiple complaints about you. Your actions constitute a pattern of public disturbance. Last time, you delayed emergency responders. Today, you hosted a loud event next to a funeral.
That's not illegal.
She tried to argue. You were issued formal warnings. You ignored them. Now there have to be consequences. You're being placed under arrest for willful disturbance of the peace and failure to comply with police directives, the officer added. Karen tried to say something else, but they were already leading her to the car. Since that day, she hasn't even looked my way. Finally, silence. A few days had passed. The yard was quiet, and so was my mind. After everything that happened, I didn't expect peace, but it came, quietly, without warning. I was watering the bushes along the fence when I heard footsteps. Familiar, confident. I wasn't even surprised. Karen appeared, just like always.
Can I have a minute?
I nodded silently. I was thinking maybe we should just smooth things over.
We're neighbors, and it's not healthy to see each other every day with this tension. For you, for me. Maybe we can just forget it happened, right?
Forget? I repeated. Forget what exactly?
Well, the whole thing, the party, the police, the memorial. It was just a misunderstanding.
That wasn't a misunderstanding, Karen. That was a choice. Your choice to throw a party on the day I buried my father.
I didn't know the exact date,
She said quickly. But you knew he had died, and that we'd be home. Karen looked away.
Look, I didn't mean any harm. Really, it just happened. And you turned it into a tragedy. You made me the villain.
And you're not? She rolled her eyes.
You always did love drama. I was just trying to do something nice for the community.
Loud music and balloons across from a memorial, that's your idea of nice? She sighed.
Fine. Clearly you're not ready to have a civil conversation. I'm trying to offer a compromise, and you...
I don't need a compromise. I need silence. Karen stood there a moment longer. She looked at my yard clean, quiet. Then at me calm, unmoved. And she understood. There was no one left to push. She said nothing more, turned and walked away. Still proud, still confident. But now I knew one thing. Even if she never admits she was wrong, my peace no longer depends on her. Almost a month had passed. The neighborhood was quiet. No loud complaints, no warnings. I had gotten used to the silence. It became familiar. And then Karen again. She stood near her yard. No notepad, no usual, I run this place expression. For the first time, just a person. She walked over slowly, stopped a few meters away.
Hey, my grandmother passed away. Recently.
I didn't say anything.
And I think I finally understand you a little. What you went through back then. It was unfair. I'm sorry.
I nodded, no emotion. She looked at me for a few more seconds.
I don't know if it changes anything,
She added.
but I wanted you to know I didn't do it to hurt you. I just didn't think.
She was about to turn away, but suddenly glanced at my car near the curb.
And by the way, you're still not parking to standard. So if you get fined next time, don't be surprised.
Karen smiled, that same smile as always, and walked away. Still proud, still confident. Some people are capable of admitting the harm they've caused, but they never really change.